It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 28. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, April 16th, 2023. Staying on track with the podcast schedule. Way to go, Dep Lewis Show. Here to you on a Sunday. It's been a whole week since we talked. I hope you had a good week out there, loyal listeners. Hope you've been playing some video games. Hope you've been making a lot of money. I hope you've been having some fun. And I'm just thankful that you're here, ready to listen to some video game talk and much, much more. So, welcome to the show here today. This is episode 28, and it's going to be a great one. So the first thing I'd like to do is just some quick business. This is a world-famous podcast, but it can only get, more famous. So if you'd like to tell people to follow the Dep Lewis Show everywhere, like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. That would be helpful. Email any questions or feedback you have to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. If you write a question to that email box, that DepLewisShow@gmail.com email box, which is open 24/7, 365, slide an email on in there, and you might have it read on this show. You might have your email read and question answered on the world-famous Dep Lewis Show. You can't believe it. So please keep that in mind. Follow episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. The Buzzsprout page is the perfect hub for you to find the perfect place for you to listen to this perfect podcast, which is not perfect, but it's perfectly fine. So Buzzsprout, shout out to you. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok, so you can usually see those after the podcast is released. You'll get some clips on YouTube and TikTok, and there's also, full episodes of this podcast are on YouTube if you're a big YouTube fan. And then let's talk about what the show is going to be like today. So in the first section, we're going to talk about what I've been playing. So I've been playing mainly one game this week, so we're going to talk about that. In the second section, we are going to get into some DLC that came out, a gameplay trailer you'll want to know about and watch. There was a Sony State of Play for a certain game. There is some Street Fighter news. There's some releases coming up that we want to talk about. So the mid section is going to be pretty heavy. We're going to smoke on a good bit of mid this week. And then in the final section, section 3, the Miscellaneous Talk section, we're going to talk some comedy. We're going to talk some other podcasts. We're going to talk about books for a second, and then we're going to get into the wide world of sports. So that's the plan for the show today. So just thank you for being here for episode 28. I really appreciate it, as always. And just thank you for being you. I really, really am happy that you're out there listening to this show and enjoying the video games with me. So another thing I want to do is promote the Patreon for www.patreon.com/DepLewisShow. If you'd like to support the show, there is a $1 a month tier on there. There's 100 slots available for that, and the first 100 will always be able to pay $1, and they'll be able to access any content that is on the Patreon. It's in perpetuity, the right word, but for forever. So it's just a general support tier, and you also get access to the Dep Lewis Shows Off series, which there's 2 entries in that series, where I play Dead Space Remake and talk over it, and then I play some Resident Evil Chainsaw Demo Remake, Resident Evil 4 Chainsaw Demo Remake, and talk over it. So you get some ad-free video on there. That's another little perk, but it's generally just a support tier for the Dep Lewis Show. So, if you'd like to support a little bit extra besides just listening, go visit the patreon.com/DepLewisShow. And the other thing I've been thinking about more recently is I need to maybe plan like a streaming day for twitch.tv/DepLewisShow. I need to possibly pick a day midweek where I can, just get on and play games for an hour or two, and I could possibly have the mic on and talk over them and, just kind of show off what I'm playing during the week. So that's something that I'm thinking of as I am thinking of how to grow the Dep Lewis Show empire. Just another opportunity to, get some eyeballs on what I'm doing here, and then get you to listen to the podcast and get all this great video game news and information weekly. The best weekly source for video game news and information in the universe, I would say. And I think a lot of other people would say it too if you'd asked them, or if they knew about the show. All right, so that is those are the notes from last show. So we're going to get into what I've been playing this week. So this week I actually took a little bit of a left turn, and I'm playing a game from 2021, and that is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And I've been loving this game. So just a little backstory on this. This game came out in 2021. It's a PlayStation 5 only game, and it's actually on sale right now if you're interested in this game. And I'm going to go on to tell you about how I like it. So I'm just going to, I'm kind of going backwards here. But this game's on sale right now on PS5 for $29.39. So that's a very, very Great deal. That game's originally $69.99, so pretty deep discount there. And the sale is good through April 27th if you're listening to this podcast in real time or semi-real time. So there's actually it seems like a pretty decent sale going on for Sony, and this Ratchet and Clank game is just one of the top sales, not top sales, but one of the best discounts they have going on. So go check it out if you're interested. And this game is very fun, and I'm enjoying it a whole lot. I got my PlayStation 5 last year, so I started playing this game then. I was probably like 20 or 30% of the way through it. Now I'm probably double that at this point after just playing in the last week or so. So I've been really liking this game. The general box commentary on this game says that go dimension hopping with Ratchet and Clank as they take on an evil emperor from another reality, jump between action-packed worlds and beyond at mind-blowing speeds, complete with dazzling visuals and an insane arsenal as the intergalactic adventurers blast onto the PS5 console. So the visuals in this game are very impressive. The changing dimensions is really cool. You have to go through these rifts, and they basically transport you to another part of the map, or they can transfer you to a new dimension entirely, and they're all seamless. So the rifts you just need to look at on the map or look at in your view and press L1, and it'll take you to that rift, and you can go back and forth, dodging enemies, or just if there's a platforming section, they do this sometimes too. And then there's also areas where you just walk through. It looks like like a purple wall or whatever, kind of see through it, but it looks kind of like watery. It's hard to explain, but it's not hard to explain, but you walk through it, and it basically just transports you to another dimension. There's no loading screen. You can just walk right back and forth, and it is distinctly impressive. It's really, really cool. And this game is very fun. I like previous Ratchet and Clank games. I've never completed one because that's kind of my MO with games a lot of times, but I really do like this series a lot. I like the characters. This one, you got your boy Ratchet and Clank back, and then there's also Rivet in this game, who might be my favorite character from this game. And Rivet actually has her own little robot friend, and I think their little relationship is pretty cool. And they just met each other, but so they're both trying to act cool still, but they're both like, oh yeah, this is gonna be my little robot homie. They're like Ratchet and Clank, so that's pretty cute. The story's good, and the cutscenes are fun. The characters are fun. I just kicked Dr. Nefarious's ass. I guess I have to fight him again, but he's one of the main bosses in the Ratchet series, and I actually kicked his ass with Rivet, and he deserved it, and it was a fun fight. And the fighting in this game is cool. The platforming is fun. The weapons are awesome. I'm mainly using the regular pistol. I've upgraded that a lot, but I also like the shotgun and the grenades. So I'm playing this game like Call of Duty now that I talk about it, basically. And then I have one other weapon. I can't think of the fourth one I use typically, but those are the three that I'm generally cycling through early on. The pistol's good for some far range shooting, or shooting guys in the air, and then the grenades are good for getting the crowds done, and then the shotgun if they run up on you. So I feel like that's a pretty good combo, even in the world of Ratchet and Clank. And what else do I like about this game? I love the collecting the bolts all around after you're hitting the boxes. So I like exploring on the maps here and looking at things and smacking things and picking up the bolt and finding rare titanium, and then even there's grind portions in this game. So sometimes traveling on levels you have to grind, or in like boss fights or kind of things like that, you're grinding and having to jump left and right and dodge and go through rifts and smack things, and it's very, very fun. It's kind of like just thinking now, it reminds me of Crash Bandicoot a little bit. It's like a Crash Bandicoot level almost within Ratchet and Clank, so it's really, really cool. The controls feel amazing, and the different environments are impressive, and I'm really loving this game. So it's been fun. It's been a good break between playing the one of the next games I'm going to talk about. It has a whole different tone and vibe, so it's been more just lighthearted to play. And I've been playing this game on easy, and it's just really been a joy to play. It's been a pleasure. If this game was a fast food restaurant, it would be Chick-fil-A, because it's been my pleasure. And I'm going to keep playing this, I assume. I don't know. I just kind of jumped into this. I've been missing my PS5, so now I'm back playing some Ratchet and Clank right now. So you'll possibly hear some more about this next week and into the future, and hopefully I'll just keep enjoying Ratchet. If you want to go cop it for yourself, it's $30 right now for PS5 on digital, on the Sony digital store, whatever, PSN. So that's an insane deal on this game. That is more than half off, and it's a very high quality game. So I think it's a good showpiece or showcase for the PlayStation 5 in general. So go cop this if you want. It's the perfect excuse that it's on sale, and it's the perfect excuse that the Dep Lewis Show told you to do it. So You have two people telling you to do it, so go do it right now. All right, so the next game I've been playing, just a very little bit, because my last week basically was a Ratchet and Clank week. It's been pretty cool. So I did play some of the Dead Space remake. So that was the other game I was alluding to when I was talking about Ratchet. Dead Space is a survival horror, science fiction space horror adventure, and it's been very fun. And I'm still plodding along in this game, and that is no knock to the game. It's just I'm scared of this game, but I'm getting I keep saying I'm getting over it, but I'm still just barely knocking it out, and I'm glad to get to the save point sometime in this. But I'm very, very much enjoying this game, and I just basically figured out the main thing of the inventory. I was having trouble of picking things up on the map, and that was because my inventory was full, and my inventory was chock full of things that I'm supposed to sell at the store to get credits or whatever. So I made this huge transaction. I got like over 30 grand in credits that I just had sitting on me, taking up my inventory space, stopping me from getting med packs and stopping me from getting ammo. So I sold those things and actually upgraded my armor. So, work smarter, not harder is something people say. That's what I needed to do in this game, because that was ridiculous. So now I have 8 or 9 more inventory slots that I can use to pick up ammo, which you really need in this game. And then I actually upgraded my suit. So that was a perfect thing that happened for me last week in this game. And I'm currently looking for the SOS beacon and having some trouble there. And I'm still loving this game. I'm going to keep playing it, and hopefully we'll finish it. And it's a perfect contrast from the Ratchet and Clank right now. But I'm really into the survival horror recently. This game also has me thinking about, I want to play Resident Evil 4 Remake, but I should probably hold off on playing that until I finish this Dead Space remake. And then the Metroid Prime Remastered looks like another game that could kind of scratch the similar itch. And maybe not as complete survival horror, but it kind of looks like a similar thing, like you're fighting on a ship, and you sometimes see outside in space, and there's some platforming sections, and you're fighting enemies, and you're going back to sections. So I think it would be a cool thing to play, since I've really been enjoying this game a whole lot. So I got some other games lined up. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. Once I finish focusing on this Dead Space remake, so that's kind of it's my smart path through. So we will see if I continue to do that. But really, really enjoying this game. So I can highly recommend that to you too. And this game is actually a part of that big Sony digital sale that's going on right now until 4/27. So go check that out. This game is $55.99 on there. And I think this game's normally $69.99. So I'm pretty sure that's true. It's either $59.99 or $69.99. I'm pretty sure it's the $69.99. So it's more of a substantial discount there. $55. $56 you can get this game for right now on the PSN store. And that is through April 27th. So go check out that sale if there's something you wanted to pick up on the PlayStation, because there's probably something on sale, and they're not scared of discounting like really good games. So that's very nice. So you're seeing that Ratchet discount, and now you're seeing a Dead Space remake discount. So very high quality games getting the dollars off. So that is what they need to do for us more often, because we are hardworking video gamers out here. All right, so those have been the main two things I've been playing this week. I could see myself playing some more of these in the upcoming week, pretty much. I've played a little bit of the Dead Cells. I'm returned to Castlevania DLC still. I still have that, maybe just throw a run down every once in a while, but I'll be playing some more of that most likely in the upcoming week still. And those are the main games in my rotation. The only one I want to maybe get back to is Fire Emblem Engage. And I also have Hogwarts Legacy on the shelf. So that one is something, I don't know, I should probably get into it at some point, some more, but that's a very vague thing I'm saying about it. But just talking about the games I have available to play from this year and that I want to play some more of. So those are just the things I'm thinking of. And then obviously there's a million games coming out this year that we are going to talk about and play. And some of those we're going to talk about in the midsection of this show coming up in just a little bit. So that's just a little teaser there for you. So that's going to wrap up the first section of this show, the What I've Been Playing section in the intro. So thank you for listening to this first section. So we are going to take a very short break. You're going to hear some music, and then I'm going to come back for the midsection, and we're going to smoke on some mid together. So listen to some music, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to the midsection of the best show you'll ever know. That's the Dep Lewis Show, and this is episode 28. And this is the midsection, so we're going to talk about some video games out there. video games happenings and things I've been seeing. So the first one we're going to talk about is a game that was very high on the Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year list for 2022, and that is Vampire Survivors. And the great Ponsel, the developer of that game, has blessed us with some new DLC. And that DLC is called the Tides of the Foscari. So Tides of the Foscari DLC. This DLC adds 8 characters, 13 weapons, 7 music tracks, 23 achievements, a new stage, and new animations for the 2 survivors, Kita and Maruto. Patch 1.4.0 also launches with the DLC, bringing in a new batch of the Seal power-up and 4 new songs to every Vampire Survivors player to enjoy. So everyone's getting some free stuff if you update Vampire Survivors with the patch. Hell yeah. The Tides of Foscari DLC is available today. So that was, not today. It was available that day on 4/13/2023. So last week for Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, iOS, Android, and PC. Still no rumblings of a Vampire Survivors on the Switch yet. And that is something, will be some breaking news for the Dep Lewis Show to report whenever that happens. But I'm definitely going to buy this DLC. I did not buy it yet this week. It's just because I didn't have time to play it, but I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to get back into the Vampire Survivor some. This DLC is $1.99, and I believe it's on sale if you have Game Pass for $1.79, so you get 20 cents off or something like that. But anything is appreciated. So something I just want to check out, and I wanted to make sure that you knew about it too. So this game's had 2 DLC packs already. This is the second one, so I would go buy the first one, especially because these are so inexpensive. The game's $3, and the DLCs are $2 a piece, or that maybe they're all $2, but under you can get all the content for this game under $8 or whatever. So a very good deal, and the game's very fun. And there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of unlocks, there's a lot of a lot of stages, and there's a lot of weapons too. So very, very cool, very, very fun. And I'm going to get back into it at some point. So I'll probably buy the DLC this week is my guess, and start making some more progress in the Vampire Survivor. So shout out to Ponkel out there. Mr. Ponsel is really, really hitting it big, and he's delivering a great game, and he's adding on content to it. So we're a big fan of Mr. Ponkel around here on the Dep Lewis Show. All right. So the next game we're going to talk about is a pretty big deal. The last entry came out in 2017. Some people, tout that game as the best game ever, of all time. So that's a long time. And this next game comes out on May 12th, 2023 for $69.99 on the Nintendo Switch. And that is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And there has been a new gameplay trailer that was released, the official trailer number 3. It was currently at 5.7 million views on April 14th when I looked at it. And it is amazing. So you need to go watch it. This is the final pre-launch trailer for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, coming May 12th, only on the Nintendo Switch. This was 3 minutes and 55 seconds of greatness. Here's some notes I wrote down after watching it and thinking about it. It says my notes say our old school dungeons back. It's possible. There's like underground sections that they think could be actual dungeons in this game. So maybe a little bit of a shift from the shrines, or maybe there's going to be shrines, and maybe there's going to be some more dungeons. I've heard people talk about how the divine beasts are a dungeon in themselves. So they say, hey, the last game wasn't void of dungeons. There was just a little bit of a different style. But this game could see maybe a return to more classic Zelda dungeons a little bit. It's kind of what I'm getting from that. Pretty cool. Ganondorf is officially returning, so you get to see some Ganondorf screen time and hear his voice. Very, very cool. I heard people talking on Nintendo Voice Chat this week about how they like that there's actually a human, or like a face to the bad guy in this game. Calamity Ganon from the last game was kind of more like I think they said like an ethereal force around the world, more so than just like a person with a face that was like talking to you kind of thing. So they were saying that was kind of a cool return, and more typical of just video games in general and Zelda games in general. And people a lot of times often like the Ganondorf character a whole lot. So I think that's going to be fun and a cool change. It seems like everything in this thing is going to be fun and cool, and it's going to be an update and a change. And it's going to be, in addition to a game that's already good, so it's pretty awesome. The music in this trailer was awesome. You get some glimpses of the Master Sword. Zelda looks so cool. She's got a short haircut. She's asking Link to come find her. And there's some parts of this trailer when I was watching it, I was like, are they going to as the screen perspective going to change, we're going to see like controlling Zelda for the first time. But I don't know if that's really going to happen. But I did hear some other podcasts mentioning that throughout the week, so I don't know if it could be like a Metal Gear thing where you play as Zelda in some portion of this game. But that's something, I guess with a lot of Zelda games people are hoping for. But just very cool looking. And Zelda's whole style and the way her character looks is so cool, and this game's looking really awesome. Link has companions by his side in this new adventure, so it seems like town people, or you might have some people fighting with you in battle, more so in this game, or actually so in this game. So that's going to be an interesting change to see, like you having some homies going into battle over Hyrule or up in the sky or whatever it may be. So that'll be a change from older Zelda games. Yeah, it says Hyrule's villagers can take arms. I don't know how you say Hateno village is back, so you do see some familiar places on the map, or in this trailer, which is pretty cool. There's a different, twist. I guess it's in a different time period, or a little bit further along in time, or something like that. But there's going to be some familiar landmarks, which is pretty interesting and neat, especially since it seems like they have so much new content in this game. They also say the game will begin on the Sky Island, so that's pretty cool. So I guess that'll kind of be the tutorial section of the game, or where the game will be tutorialized, or kind of handhold you through. And then whenever you get to float down to the ground is probably when the real game gets started. So that's going to be the coming out of the cave moment on like Fallout or whatever, probably when you're flying down. So that's going to be pretty epic. There's things underground. Yeah, could these be the dungeons? I already mentioned that. There's a returning boss, the old Gleeok, the three-headed dragon from the original Legend of Zelda game. We're seeing him in this trailer, so that's pretty awesome. I love some dragons in general, and if there's one with 3 heads, that's three more times the better. So, shout out to Gleeok, pretty cool. You can put a sword on a shield in this game. You can combine those. Yeah, don't forget that you're going to be able to combine a lot of the elements in the world together, or like a lot of the item pickups can add, different elements to your weaponry. So, like for example, the Kisa eyeball, if you attach that to your arrow from your bow and arrow. If you have a bow and arrow and you have a Kisa eyeball, you can put the eyeball on the arrow, and that'll turn into a homing missile to kill a bird out the sky or hit an enemy without having to aim. So pretty cool. So there's going to be a million different combos in this game like that, and the sword shield combo is going to be one of those, and we saw that in this trailer. Let's see, enemies can fight one another, so it's just going to be some more interesting AI going on in this game is what it sounds like. Some more interesting interactions between just Link and the enemies. It sounds like there's going to be you're going to have your companions, the enemies can fight each other, and then you're obviously going to have your own self in there doing all the damage mainly. But it sounds cool that the world will be a little more lived in and just things going on. It sounds really cool. That sounds awesome. That sounds like a good thing for any video game. Let's see. Is there possibly a flying squirrel suit for Link? He's gliding through a tunnel. We see him gliding through a tunnel, avoiding dozens of red lasers like he's James Bond or something. So pretty cool. I hope, hopefully that section will be, hopefully we'll have that suit a little bit more. As one note, is there a new Sheikah Slate? So there has to be maybe a new Sheikah Slate, or a way to, some new prior technology that's going to help Link out during this. And we also see in the trailer Link blasting off from the ground on a literal hand rocket. So Link blasting off is pretty awesome, and I think it's just a touch of things to come in this game, because if they're willing to show us all these things, there's got to be 90% more things that they haven't showed us, or maybe 80% or something. They're barely tipping their hand on these trailers. They've only given us 3 official trailers, and they're all very epic and worthy seeing every frame. But this game's going to be gigantic, and people are still playing the first game and finding new things in that. I've heard many people talking on podcasts recently about how they've gone back to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and are still finding new things that or still having things to complete that they wanted to, outside of the main story or whatever it is. So if they're able to come through and make another game on the same caliber of that, or if it's possibly greater, I think that's going to be a massive achievement, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. So that's going to be less than a month away, and something I need to purchase and pre-order because it is coming soon. And I don't know, I'm hyped for it, and I think you should be too. So that's the main that would be the main thing I'd say to go watch this week from this mid-section here, where we talk about what's happening around the video game world. Go watch that Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom gameplay trailer number 3. official trailer number 3, and go watch it on YouTube. Probably got even more millions of views already. Alright, so what else happened last week? There was a Sony State of Play for a specific game, and that specific game was Final Fantasy 16. So this was a showcase for Final Fantasy 16, and it happened on Thursday, April 13th, 2023. This is a brand new PlayStation State of Play has arrived, and it was focused entirely on Final Fantasy 16. We already know it is set to be released on PlayStation 5 on June 22nd, 2023. So this presentation was all about learning more about the game's world, spectacular battles, combat, base camp, and more. And I watched MinMax, that's MinMax with 2 N's, live stream and talk over this. It was Ben and Sarah Pods, and it made me somewhat excited for this game. The trailer, or the showcase, was really cool. They showed off a lot of the elements of the game, things you'd be doing. They highlighted the main character and a little bit of the story and the map, and kind of like the warring nations or factions, kind of a little bit hint into that stuff. And they showed off the combat, and it just looks like a really epic game. I don't have a huge history with the Final Fantasy series besides just kind of liking the music, and I've tried a few of the entries and played some of them, but this looks really cool, and it's coming out over the summer on PlayStation 5. Will be the only place you can play it, so I think it's just something I'm kind of in a wait and see mode for it. But this State of Play definitely put it on my radar a little more. Something, especially if I'm in a lull of video games or bored or wanting something new to play, this could possibly be something I pick up at that point. So I don't know if I would have said that before seeing this, so I think it was worthwhile to see, and you can go watch it. You can go watch it on Sony's PlayStation channel, or you can go watch like someone talk over it, like MinMax. That was really fun to watch Ben and Sarah talk over that. So I'd recommend MinMax with 2 N's to go watch the Sony State of Play recap. Alright, what else happened? Oh yeah, so this is a happening that's coming up and something I want to watch, and it comes up this week. And it's on a great day for the mid section. Even though on this day you shouldn't be smoking any mid, and that is on 4/20/2023. There's a new Street Fighter 6 showcase, and this is not a mistake. This is not going to be a correction next show. This is not a flub, but it is going to be hosted by the one and only Lil Wayne's. I don't know why old Tunchi is hosting this, but whatever, that's cool. I'm a Lil Wayne fan. I just think it's a random pairing for the Street Fighter, but whatever. It's going to be Thursday, 4/20/2023 at 3 p.m. I think it's Pacific time, so don't quote me on that 100%. Go check out for yourself. Maybe before you start smoking on some of that non-mid on 4/20, go check out the time and plan to watch this. And Street Fighter people are saying you won't want to miss this latest on the unique fights, crazy game modes, and big announcements we have in store. So I'll report back the news on this next week. Street Fighter 6 comes out June 2nd, 2023, and I'm going to be purchasing that game day one. I'm going to be playing on the Xbox is what I'm pretty sure, and I already have a fight stick that I bought last year for King of Fighters, so I'm going to be using that a ton for the new Street Fighter 6, and I can't wait. I already have Xbox Live Gold or whatever. I can play on the internet for over a year, and I'm going to be getting back into the Street Fighter and kicking ass out there. So I'll be checking in for this showcase on the 20th, and I think you should be too. All right, so the last 2 things we're going to talk about. One is an upcoming video game release, and one is some news from another upcoming game release. But the first one is a game that comes out next week on 4/21/2023, and it's $59.99 on Nintendo Switch, and that is Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. You can lead a cast of colorful characters and fun turn-based battles with 2 classic campaigns from the beloved Advance Wars series, fully remade from the ground up. And this is also part of the Nintendo Switch game voucher system too. So Nintendo Switch, you can pay $100. They'll give you 2 game vouchers, and you can redeem those for any of the games on the game voucher list. And one of those games is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and the other is, there's plenty of other ones, but Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp is on there. So, if you're paying $69.99 for Zelda, $70, you can drop $30 more and get another game completely on this list. So even now that I'm saying this, I should probably just do this, because you're getting a game half off, and that's a pretty great deal. And there's a high chance I'm going to want to play one of these games later in the year, like Advance Wars, or that new Bayonetta game's on there, and there's a few other, Fire Emblem's on there, the new Kirby game's on there, Pokemon's are on there. There just hasn't been another game exactly that I wanted to drop the cash on, but maybe this should be it, because you get 2 campaigns in it too, which is another nice deal. And from my understanding, this seems like similar to the combat of Fire Emblem, and I really love Fire Emblem, but I've never played another Fire Emblem game. But I don't know, it's something to think about, and I think you should think about it too out there. But this game releases on the 21st of April, so go check it out if you're interested in the Advance Wars. And the great Volnus, the great music creator for the Dep Lewis Show, is a big fan of Advance Wars, and he played them back in the day. So I don't know if he's going to jump into them completely yet, but he vouches for these games, and so does one of my other friends actually too. So I just must have missed these back in the day, but whenever that reboot got announced, they were both pretty hyped for it. So there's probably a lot of other people in the world like that. So go check it out. All right, the last news we're going to talk about is a game coming up. This game comes out for release exclusively on the Xbox, and it'll be on Xbox Game Pass, and that game is Redfall. And the news here is just interesting to talk about. This is almost like negative news to talk about, but we're going to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up because I thought it was interesting. But the whole discourse around this was, so Redfall announces, it's like this game to me, it's a little survival horror, but it's mainly a co-op focused game. So this game is really wanting you to have, 3 friends together to, play 4-player co-op and run through these missions. And I think you can pick different classes of characters. It looks pretty cool. It doesn't look something I would buy if it wasn't on Game Pass right away, but it being on Game Pass will make it something that I want to try. And the news that came out this week with this game, and this game's already been delayed maybe multiple times, but the game's going to launch with only quality mode. So if you don't know what that means, really, it's like on these new next-gen consoles, they usually have, you can change the fidelity modes of like what you want to see. You can tell it, put the resources to quality, so the visuals will be looking better. Or you can put the power to the other one's performance usually. So it's usually quality versus performance, and performance is usually where you're like saying, hey, I want the 60 frames per second mode. I'll take a little bit lesser visuals, or whatever it is. There's less lighting or shading or whatever, and I want the frames. But this game's going to only allow you to launch with the quality mode, and they're saying that it's just because basically it sounds like because the rest of the modes aren't ready. So. People online were asking, is the Series S holding this back? And that's maybe a cop-out for these developers, I would say. I think the way they I wrote here, I think the way that, the trend is they keep holding things back at release is becoming ridiculous. And I was writing a joke. I said, we're going to get a game that's just a start screen at some point. So we're going to get a full price release game, and you're going to go into it, and it's just going to be the start screen. And they're going to say, hey, the rest of the game is coming, and they're going to have weekly drops of, the first level to the second level. And that's going to be, we're going to like get the game as they're building it, is my prediction for the future. You're going to, one day the developer is going to be making this section, and the next day you're going to be playing it, and then you're going to have to wait till the next day or something. It's going to be like watching Dragon Ball Z back in the day. But this is just me talking a little bit of shit on this. But I think you should just launch the game when you have all the features set that you'd want to present to the public. But this is just a weird one. Quality mode, and could just be personal too. I don't ever use quality mode. I'm usually choosing the performance mode. I think the only argument I've kind of seen, or example I've seen myself, is the Dead Space remake. I almost chose to go quality mode because it just looks so good, but I ended up just going back to the performance mode because I like getting those frames in there. But I don't know. I like that you have the option on the next gen to choose between these things. Obviously I'd like to have it all, but if you have to focus your resources on something, I think it's nice to give you the option. And I just think it's silly that they are that's an option that they're going to hold back. It's like, you're going to get the game, but they're going to load the sound in 2 weeks or something like that. Like, it's just becoming a little bit crazy. Redfall is a new IP, so I mean, I just kind of wonder what goes into the, like, not the business workings, but like just the thought process behind this. It's like, it's kind of a bad look to for your introduction to the world, but who knows. But just go check out that information and the discourse on that. It's just pretty interesting, and I think it's a good example of the state of video game releases these days, that they can be a little wonky or unpredictable, and it's oftentimes probably better to wait on getting the games. But myself included, I like to play things right away and see how they are. So it's just something interesting. So it's nice to know the information beforehand, at least. And just thought that was cool interesting about the Redfall release. So we will see. I'll report back more to you on Redfall later as that game releases. I think it comes out in May is my guess, but I could be wrong. But it is sometime soon, so we'll be talking about Redfall some more on the Dep Lewis Show in the future. So that is going to wrap up the mid section today. We smoked all the mid we can. We talked about the Vampire Survivors DLC, Tides of the Foscari. Go buy that. There's a new Zelda, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom gameplay trailer out. Go watch that right now, official trailer number 3. There was a Sony State of Play for Final Fantasy 16. You can go watch the recaps of that online. Go watch Min-Max if you want something good to go watch. There is a new Street Fighter 6 showcase coming this week, in the upcoming week on 4/20/2023. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp releases 4/21/2023, so check that out if you like. And then we talked about the news around Redfall launching with the quality only mode, so that's just a good example of the way some video game things are going these days. So we're going to take another break. You're going to hear some more great music, and then we're going to come back for the miscellaneous talk section of the show. We have a few things to talk about there. We got some comedy, we got some podcasts, we got some books, and then we got the worldwide world of sports. So, go take a quick break. It's just going to be short, and then we'll be right back. So go do whatever you need to do. Go be responsible. Go have some fun. I don't know. Go get a drink. Go get something to eat. Give your dog a pet. I don't know. Go do something, and then come right back and listen to the final section of this show. And I'll be back in just a second. Welcome back to the final section of the Dep Lewis Show, episode 28. This is the miscellaneous talk section, and we got some miscellaneous talk for you today. So the first thing I want to talk about is a new special that was released last week, and that was from Stavros, old Stabby baby. Stavros Halkias, he has a new crowdwork special on YouTube. It was excellent. You should go watch it right now. If you have 31 minutes and 32 seconds, you can go watch the whole thing. It was awesome. This was, it had that title in there, 4 Nights in NYC, so you saw Stavros on some different stages, talking to the crowd, going in and out of bits, and doing it seamlessly and flawlessly. And it was very, very excellent. And I didn't really realize this was coming out. I believe Stavros also has another special coming out soon, I think I heard him say. Maybe don't quote me on that, but there's been, a flood of comedy specials recently, and I've been really getting into Stavros lately and watching him on different things. He was on Tim Dillon this week, so you should go watch that. Tim Dillon's probably my favorite podcaster in the world, and it was interesting to see him, Stavros, go on his show. I don't know if they've met up before like that, but I'm just kind of forgetting I watched that. That was last night I watched that, so I watched it immediately when that was released, and it was awesome. So please go watch Stavros on Tim Dillon if you haven't seen that. It was a great episode this week, and those two were funny as fuck. And when the episode ended, I was upset. I was like, man, I wish they could keep going for hours on there, but I usually feel like that while watching the Tim Dillon show anyways. But it was great seeing Stavros on there, and he's been on other podcasts and things lately, and the more Stavros content I feel is the better. So I just wanted to highlight that on the show today. And you should go watch the Stavros' new crowdwork special, 4 Nights in NYC. Go check it out on the YouTube. Really, really excellent. All right. Another thing that I think is excellent is the Are You Garbage podcast, hosted by H. Foley and Kevin Ryan. This is a great podcast where they have guests on, and they also do they do solo podcasts too, or they do it all is what they do, and they're touring comedians as well. So very impressive, and their podcast is great. And the general gist of their podcast is they have a person on, and they ask them all these questions, these leading questions, to find out if they are garbage or not. So it'll be like, have you ever had a family member represent themselves in court? They talk about like what things you have in your fridge. Oh man, I'm really blanking on the questions. They'll ask you if you use a washcloth. Apparently Tom Segura says if you use a washcloth, that makes you more trash than not. But they have millions of questions about things like these, and they're just basically just shooting the shit and figuring out a little bit of people's backstories and things like that. And it's just an excellent podcast, and they're very funny. And recent episodes, they have a lot of big time guests on there and people I like. So recent episodes on Are You Garbage, they've had Andrew Schultz, they've had Shane Gillis, they've had Big J Okerson, they've had Bert and Leanne Kreischer, they've had Kelsey Cook, and they just had Schultz on again. So they're on fire right now. And then Foley and Kevin were also on YMH this week with Tom and Christina, so that was excellent. So go watch that. And then Christina's actually going to go on their pod at some point, so they were already determining that Christina was garbage, but she's going to get an official episode of the Are You Garbage Boys. So go check out their podcast. It's very excellent. I wish I could think of more questions. I'm just putting myself on the spot. I'm trying to think of things they ask, but I'm blanking on them now. They'll talk about like how much you give someone if you go to a wedding, how much you put in an envelope. They ask you millions of questions, and I can't think of them. But either way, go watch it for yourself. it'll be better than I can explain anyways. All right, so now the next thing we want to talk about is some book talk. So the only thing I want to say here is I'm reading The Captain right now by Wight. I've made a little progress here, but not much. These are people, flying around up in the sky, got their spaceships going. They got some different things going on in this book, and it's been pretty good. It's an introduction to a new series, so you're learning some new characters and trying to figure out what's going on. And I've just made some slight progress on that. So I just kind of wanted to say I had some good book progress going earlier in the year, and mainly was playing some Ratchet and Clank last week amongst other things. But just wanted to highlight that I'm still reading this, so I could be finishing this probably in the next week or so, and I can tell you some more information about it. But that's called The Captain by Wight. I believe it was like $5 or $6 for the Kindle book, for the Kindle edition, so pretty inexpensive. And this is a new series for Wight, and there's going to be the second entry in this series, I believe, comes out in a few months. So great time to get into it, and you have a little bit of time to read it. It's not completely too long of a book, so it's just been fun to read, and I've been enjoying it. So I wanted to bring it up. All right, the worldwide world of sports. We just have a little bit to talk about here. The Carolina Panthers, there's no news there besides I'd like to say they should extend Brian Burns. You should pay him a large bag of money and put him very, very high on that defensive edge rusher average salary list. I want to see him at the top, actually, but put him up there somewhere good, give him some guaranteed cash, and let him be on the team for a long time. I saw people were talking about, or maybe even Brian was talking about it on Twitter or something, about a number change, possibly to number 9 or number 0. As an owner of a Brian Burns jersey, number 53, I would not be upset if he changed his number because I like him that much. So if he changes his number, that's fine with me. And whatever number he is rocking for the Panthers, I think it'll look amazing. So whatever you want to do out there, Brian Burns, do it. And the Panthers should let you do it, and they should. And Big Tepper should. This is my recommendation, because if you want to change your number, you have to buy out the stock that's already been created. So let Big Tepper put that in your extension negotiations. Get the big bag of money to yourself with the guaranteed funds, and then tell him you want the bag to change your number. I think that's a great tactic right there, Mr. Brian, if I do say so myself. All right, so some more North Carolina news. I went and watched the Charlotte FC last night. They tied with the Colorado Rapids, but it was a great evening, and it was a fun time to watch some football. Colorado scored first, and it kind of took the air out of the arena, or the stadium, but then Charlotte got 2 goals back-to-back sort of later on in the game, and it was pretty interesting and awesome. And the place went really crazy, and so did the players too. And so I've seen maybe 4 of these games now, and one of my friends would ask, have you found a favorite player yet? And maybe, just maybe, I'm slightly leaning towards number 18, Mr. Vargas. He was rocking some yellow shoes last night. I always like some guys rocking some crazy colored shoes out there, and maybe it just draws my eye to him a little more. But Vargas has a nice little shake and bake with the ball, and he actually had some pretty important plays last night, so he could be up there for my becoming my favorite Charlotte FC player, Mr. Number 18. So very fun. I recommend you go to those games and go check out some MLS. You might be surprised about how fun it is. But the Rapids scored at the end of the game and tied it up, and the game ended in a draw. And Charlotte FC has next week they got Columbus Crew at home, so maybe I'll go check that out too. We'll see. But Charlotte FC needs to get it together, and they need to score some more goals, and that's the main thing they need to do, I say. Their defense seems okay, but they need to put some more goals up on the board. Easier said than done. And something else easier said than done is the Atlanta Hawks getting a win in the playoffs. They won the play-in game versus the Heat. They made the playoffs, and they're the 7th seed, but they've been tasked and put up against playing the Boston Celtics in the first round. So it was a pretty bad loss last night. Game 1 in Boston. Boston's looking very good. Tatum and Brown are an insane combo, having 2 elite wing players leading your team. But the Hawks, they definitely missed a lot of shots early, and things weren't falling. They didn't hit a 3 for their first 10 shots or something. Trey started really cold, and they were sort of in the game. They had some striking moments, but Boston kind of handled them pretty well. Boston's pretty big. That's not the best thing against the Hawks, but the Hawks are pretty good at rebounding. But I don't know. It was kind of a bad loss. Game 2 will be Tuesday, and Game 3 is on Friday of the upcoming week, so I'll be checking for those. So I just got to say, go Hawks. Hope you can get some wins. I would love to see that. And then the official team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Atlanta Braves, and the official sport of the Dep Lewis Show, the Major League Baseball. So we're going to talk about that for a bit here. Did the Braves win last Sunday 4-9-23 against the Padres? No. Padres are looking pretty tough and a formidable opponent, and it's possible the Braves could be seeing them in the World Series is something I'm saying. But the Braves walked it off Monday night thanks to Sean Murphy against the Reds. This was a real grindy game. Really kind of a game I like to watch. It was a really good win to pull out. Bryce Elder pitched a good game, and the boys held it together and got the win. So I really do kind of like seeing a low-scoring game with just maybe a run or two in there, and then the pitching goes kind of according to plan. You get your starter and then just a few relievers and you close it out, and then you can come out with those wins. I think that's a pretty good testament to a team to kind of get those grindy wins out, and that was a great win. And then the rest of the week has gone swimmingly for the Braves. They've won every game so far this week. So they beat the Reds earlier in the week, and now they've been playing the Royals here later in the week. Last night's game had a pretty big rain delay, but they actually got the game through, and the Braves kicked some ass. I didn't get to watch it because I was out watching the football, but Sean Murphy apparently had a great game again. So he's been a very welcome addition to the Braves, and I really enjoy watching him, and his bat's been great. I think he does a great job behind the plate, framing the pitches, and it seems like he's very in command back there as a catcher. And, he's a young guy. He got paid, and I feel lucky that we have him on our team, and he's going up there in the ranks he's up there in the ranks for one of my favorite Braves now, and I'm really liking him. So hopefully the Braves will get a win against the Royals today, and then next week they got the Padres, and then at the Padres, and then they're home versus the Astros. So very tough week of baseball next week for the Braves. I don't expect them to win every game next week, but I do expect them to win most of them. And then the other exciting news for me is I have a new Atlanta Braves jersey on the way. I ordered a City Connect jersey, and I got a Matt Olson jersey. So number 28 is coming to my door. I actually ordered an Austin Riley, and I ordered a large, and it was a little too snug, so I shipped it back, and all the Riley jerseys were already sold out. So I switched to Olson, which I was considering him in general. I was considering Fried. I was considering Acuna. But I'm happy to have an Olsen jersey. It'll be very cool. When I was little, I played first base, so it's cool to have a first baseman's number, and he's hitting a lot of bombs, so it's pretty fun. So those City Connect jerseys, go check them out. The Braves have some of the coolest ones out there. I would just say from getting the one in the mail, it did run a little smaller than normal, and it's more of like a t-shirt material than like a jersey. So I have two regular Braves jerseys, and they are just a little different in style. I'm not saying it's worse, but it's just the City Connects are more of a jersey style, and they fit a little tighter. So just so you know that out there if you're going to buy one. But really, really cool. And they have all sorts of hats and shirts and hoodies and things of the Brave City Connect stuff. So I could spend thousands of dollars there and not have it all, but I would love to. So I would love to be able to. So shout out to the Atlanta Braves, doing some great things and providing all the best content in the world for me to watch and then talk about on the Dep Lewis Show. So that is going to wrap up the Miscellaneous Talk section. Just to recap, we talked about Stavros' new crowdwork special on YouTube. Go watch that. Talked about and highlighted the Are You Garbage podcast. Go watch that whenever you can. Watch any episode. Keep up with those guys. It's very, very funny. I'm reading The Captain by Will Wight. I'll probably be making some progress on that this week. And then we talked about the Carolina Panthers need to extend Brian Burns. Charlotte FC needs to score some goals. Atlanta Hawks need to beat the Celtics, but it's been tough in the playoffs. And then we talked about the Braves on a major hot streak. And I hope it'll continue into next week against the Padres and the Astros, but we will see. And that's going to wrap up another episode of the Dep Lewis Show. This was episode 28. So I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you're going to have a great upcoming week in your life, in your real life, and in your video game life, and any other life you might have out there. And I'm going to be back next week for episode 29. Can't believe it. So it's some last things I want to tell you to do. Just some more things to help the Dep Lewis Show. If you could follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. If you could like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. That email box is open 24/7, 365, so slide on in. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok, so check those out and do all the likes and all those kind of things to them too. And subscribe or support the Dep Lewis Show on Patreon, patreon.com/DepLewisShow. The ground floor tier is $1 a month, and I would really, really appreciate it. And just thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you so much for being out there. Thank you so much to all the video games and all the sports and all the books and all the comedians. And we're going to be back next week to talk about it again on episode 29. So thank you for listening to episode 28, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Dep